You know what would be weird? Is if I didn't say hey hey Blue Table fans at the beginning of a video. Or I wasn't incredibly loud. So guys, I've been a little under the weather, and so you'll probably hear that in my voice. So I watched season 4 of The Flash. Awesome. Just a good time. I think at DC Comics they're having a good time. Is what I think. There's definitely a different tenor between the Marvel and the DC universes. Although if I had to pick one, I have to go Marvel. I think they've definitely put it together better. Although I have mixed feelings about Disney being like this giant. Disney used to be so sweet and good and kind, and now it's like, you know, it's getting a little big brothery, what it's doing. So, still going to support Netflix, though. I'm telling you that, because Netflix has been awesome to me over the years. What a great thing. So, all right. First off, I don't know if you guys know this, but I've been taking dance. So every year I pick some area to sort of improve myself. And this year it was dance. I waited till August. But I really cranked it up. I've been to a competition. This last week I did a, what's called, like an exhibition dance. Exhibition? Well, anyway, where you're just doing it for fun at an event, you know, to sort of like for the spectacle. And believe me, it's a spectacle when I get out there. And I have this shirt that's like a disco ball. Like it's all like sequins. And let me tell you, I saw the video and it was terrible. Like, guys, I've gotten into much better shape than before. And before any time in my life, actually. And let me tell you, I am definitely not in shape enough to be out there wearing these costumes and dancing. It's an embarrassment. It really is. All right, so dance. And I'd love to keep doing it in the new year. Don't know if I'll have time or resources for it, but we shall see. December. Oh, it's so slow in December. Or is it just that way because I perceive it that way? I don't know, but I'd love to set up some new projects. I'd have slots open for that. I've got the crew for it. So let me know, and if you put in an inquiry before, you know, you might want to see what I would do for you. That will not be the last pitch of this room. Oh. I also watched Mowgli. So they've done a lot of Jungle Book movies. And I've read the book by Rudyard Kipling. And I have to tell you, I'd like to see a movie that had the spirit of the book, but I don't think it'll be politically correct enough for anybody to actually do it. But Mowgli was pretty dark, and I think they did it. They had a lot more things that were like the book. So people watching Mowgli might be like, that's not how the story went. Well, go read the book, because it's probably closer than any of the other other versions of it. Did enjoy it, really liked it that they spent time with him, sort of going back into civilization. But to my mind, one of the major themes of the books is sort of man's dominion over nature, and let me tell you, that is an unpopular theme nowadays. So anyways, Deep Madness is a board game with lots of great Cthulhu sci-fi miniatures in it, and I'm painting it. And I've had a couple people approach me for twinning it, which means I'll do your copy and my copy at the same time. So I'm still looking for somebody to do that. And it, great figs, just great great models in that. And I have to tell you, those board games, they're putting them out. And and that's what I was going to say, is that you can find it pretty inexpensively on eBay. This morning I took all the food out of the cupboards just to see like what I had, because there's always this stuff that you kind of never get around to eating it because there's always fast food or something yummier or easier, you know. And I started actually like cooking it up. There was this whole thing of like macaroni pasta, and I just cooked the whole thing. And I've been picking away at that today. So anyway, we got a lot of cool projects going right now. About 35, 40 projects. And the last part of that Deathcore, which you've seen already, I have a Tau Tiger Shark that's going to make both versions with all the different possible variants, all of them magnetized and painted. So that's going to be really cool. 2 giant Game of Thrones projects together, probably like 600 or 700 figures. A lot of stuff. And those things, those are 30 to 35 millimeter scale. Like, those are not small figures. They really boosted them up. So that's kind of a big deal. Also at bluetablestore.com, check the liner notes for a link there. I've been putting up because I've been painting role-playing game miniatures like for years now, just sort of building up this collection. I think it's up to like 600 figures. I mean, it's a lot. I've started putting them on my web store just to have them out there, you know, sort of get some movement going. And I found that's good for, it's not good to collect things for too long if you're an artist. If you're a collector, then that's what you're doing it for. But if you're an artist like me, you just sort of gotta keep that going. Because if you have a big collection, then it's like, oh, I already have these things, and you're not really motivated. A lot of people have come to me over the years for advice, like, well, how do you do it? How do you set up a studio? And my number one piece of advice for that or anything is prolificness. Just start doing stuff. And don't wait for it to be perfect to just put it up on YouTube. You know, or I wouldn't put up anything. I would have never put up anything. I mean, pretty much all along through the last 10 years that I've been doing YouTube, 11 now, there's so many people doing it better. It's really depressing. Like, I watch videos from like Miniwargaming or Tabletop Minions, I think he's called. That's Adam Loper. And it's like they do such a good job. I'm just like, oh, maybe I should just not do anything. But you know, you just gotta keep it up. And for December, I made a goal to do 3 videos a day. No, it's 1 video a day. But that's still pretty good. Like, you gotta get it out there. And the one thing no other place can have is me. And so you always bring something. And a lot of people have been very complimentary over the years. Wow, the light in this room is like really good. It's kind of washing me out. So, by the way, this is a new sweater, and I love it. And I got to tell you, I go to lots of different places for clothes. And really, like if things go well, I treat myself and go buy like a shirt or some shoes or something like that. And but you know where I find a lot of good stuff? Target. Good old Target. Now, out front of the Target in my city, there's a what we call an interdimensional portal. So it's like a red wall with a circle cut out. And it's only like, the bottom of the circle is only like 2 feet off the ground. So you can step through this circle. And my kids and I, we're really huge fans of Rick and Morty and the idea of like infinite parallel universes, right? So our thing is there's 2 places in the city that have interdimensional portals. So if you go through them, you actually end up in an alternate dimension. So things aren't going as well for you as you'd like, then you just go through the portal. And if you're thinking happy thoughts, you end up somewhere better. Where the probable, like, minor things are going to be different that go better for you. The other one is at Lens Crafters. There's a tiny little office in the back of Lens Crafters that is also an interdimensional portal. So, all right, that's how weird my family is. I love my kids, by the way. For those of you that don't know, I have 5 kids. I have a daughter who is 19, and so 4 of them are from my ex-wife. So I have a 19-year-old daughter, I have a 17-year-old son, who, by the way, is 6'2", and I have a 13-year-old son, and then I have a 10-year-old daughter, just recently turned 10. And let's see, and then I have a 2-year-old daughter, a post-divorce daughter, which I wanted and was planned, and her name is Audrey. And she's like a little curly-haired brunette Shirley Temple. She's really sweet. She's very outgoing. She definitely got her father's personality. She just loves strangers, loves going to the grocery store, says hi to everybody, and just is really having a good time. I was watching her the other day, and she went and she got a bowl, a nice bowl, like a ceramic bowl, and she put it on a chair, and then she went in the other room. And then she just came barreling out of the other room and went, ah, kapow! And she like knocked the bowl onto the ground. And I'm like, what was that all about? She just got it in. She just got it into her head that she was gonna do that. So anyway, yeah, I gotta tell you, like my dream, other than doing what I'm doing, which is awesome, by the way, I've always felt fortunate with blue table painting, and really, I've had a sense like, well, nothing better is going to come after this. Like, I can scarcely imagine something better than this. And, oh, yeah, and by the way, check the Webstore. I have a news section, and that I put up a couple armies, and they're really a great deal. I mean, the armies are a little rough. They're fixer-uppers, but man, the price tag on those is insane. It's definitely good. All right, so anyway. All right, more rambling. How far am I in? Oh, 12 minutes. Wow, not bad. Normally my rambles are 20 or 30 minutes. We'll see. Let's see how it goes. So, Dungeons and Dragons. First off, I run a game with my kids. And my 17-year-old son's girlfriend is in it too. So the 4 of them. The 19-year-old girl doesn't come to those things. So, and quite frankly, if you're watching this and you're local and you'd like to be in one of my RPGs, I would love to get another group going or kind of mix up the existing groups. So I have that one. I have D&D with the 4 kids, which is great, by the way. It's complete magic because they're all teenagers, you know. And then I have a Starfinder game, which is science fiction, and then I'm a player in that one. Now, normally, sometimes people are like, hey, Shawn, why don't you just play in my game and you won't have to DM anymore? And I'm just like, oh, yeah, you think that sounds great, but, you know, I'm actually an awful player because I get bored and then I start being disruptive. And that's not always a good idea, but I'm a good boy. In our Starfinder game, it's me, the 2 teenage boys, and then 2 of my artists, Veronica and Tom, who are great, by the way. Like they're just great humans, and I always feel just lucky to have them around. And so anyway, I'm on like Facebook groups that are for Dungeons and Dragons, right? And I keep seeing posts of like the same variant, like variants on a same post. And the post is, I have a player who's like a power gamer, and he's come up with this combo, and it's so powerful that, you know, I don't know how to deal with him. And then there's all these comments of like, ooh, how they're gonna make it hard on him, how they're basically gonna take it away. And I'm always like, wait a second. Because the whole point of a fantasy role-playing game is it's a fantasy game. If you wanted to get beaten down and not have any options, well, that's probably this guy's regular life in real life. You know, he doesn't come to your game to have, you know, more of what's happening at his job down at the photocopy place, you know? It's a fantasy game. So the players, I view myself as a game master, as a host. Like, I'm there to host the fantasy of the people at the table. Now, that could be a communal fantasy, so you could have 4 players who they all are rules keepers, and they want to play by the rules and see if they can beat the game strictly by the rules. Now, for people like that, I am a terrible DM because I go off the rails pretty quick with some OP stuff, and I allow for cinematic stuff. It's like the barbarians, like I rush to the door, I bang down the door, I run in, and I nail the 2 orcs with my swords. I'm like, yeah, that's cinematic. That happens. Roll your attack rolls. And then another player is like, yes, but that's a move action, and it's a standard action to open the door, so he really only makes it to the door, and he's standing there at the open door. I'm like, yeah, but that's kind of lame, and you didn't even roll for the break DC of the door. And I'm like, yeah, let's make it not fun. So anyway, excuse me, I need to get some water. I'm doing a lot better today, by the way. Have you ever been sick and you're like, there's like one day that you wake up and you're like, yeah, the worst is over. Like your body knows it's on the mend. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I can do this 40 more times. Like, I started to look at life that way. The big 5-0's coming up, and I'm like, yeah, can I do? I look at any given thing that happens once a day. I'm like, can I do this 40 more times? Can I take out the trash? You know, geez, what is it? 15,000 more times? Gets boring after a while, guys, doing the same thing. You need different things. But then, on the other hand, sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I don't want different things. I'll take a year of the same thing. Thank you very much. So anyway, excuse me, let me just get one more shot of this. Oh, I'm running down. So yeah. All right. So here's what you do. If you're a DM, there's lots of ways you can handle a disruptive player who's like, you know, I have 16 attacks because of this, and this, and like sort of like powerhouses it. And the other players, maybe they're not into it for whatever reason. So you have 3 players that are this one way and this one player that's kind of going off the rails. And quite frankly, it's real easy. Without saying anything, just start running 2 games. Host the fantasy of each player. So I guess other than saying this is a way to deal with that one situation, the one player who's like power gaming or doing something different. But just generally how to run a role-playing game is figure out what the fantasy is of each person and host the fantasy of those people. So in my D&D game, my young daughter's fantasy, who plays a half-elf druid, is that she's on an animal rescue mission. So guess what? There's animals in the game, and she has this little entourage of creatures that she sort of picks up along the way, and she loves it. You know, and I let her talk to them in their animal language. You know, I don't give her problems about rules and stuff like that. I just make it fun. And we even gave levels and classes to the animals. So she has a big black dog mastiff that's a paladin, and he has lay on tongue. He like licks people and it heals them. So, and so forth and so on. She has all these little animal friends. Then they come and go, you know. And so anyway, and then one of my sons, he wants to be, you know, the knight that charges in gloriously against all odds, you know, and I don't beat him down. I just give him these over-the-top villains that like make a speech, and then he just kills them so terribly. And they're having a good time. So anyway, long story short, don't thwart your players. Just, you know, have them have their fantasy. You might say, yeah, but Shawn, that doesn't really challenge them. Well, is their fantasy to be challenged? And if it is, then you should do that, you know. Some people do like the feeling of actually beating the module as written. And by the way, excuse me, Pathfinder is really good for that. Pathfinder is very, very formulaic. And in Starfinder, I actually, as a player, did that. Like, the DM was running it strictly by the book. You only got the treasures that were in the book. You can only buy equipments of a certain level. That's how it was. And quite frankly, we beat it quite handily because, you know, we have 4 very smart players and we play very well, and we, you know, I'm like, hey guys, let's be frosty mercenaries who are paying attention. And we do. We pay attention, and we, you know, have combat formations, and we're smart. We scout ahead and figure things out. And we've done really well. So if anything, as written, the Starfinder modules are actually kind of easy. You know, the game is kind of on an easy setting. And I wonder if Pathfinder is the same way. Oh, by the way, I bought all the Pathfinder modules, which is like 130 now. And now I wish I hadn't, because they're coming out with version 2. And I thought they would actually be worth something, because a lot of them have gone up in value, and they might. They still might. I had them up for as low as $10 a module, as a group, of course. But no, I'm just like, no, it's this amount. Because like some of the paths have gone up, you know, like Kingmaker has done really well. Like it's at least 200 or 300 to get a set of 6 of those, and so. All right, well, that's about it. So check out Blue Table Store, new section. I've been putting up a lot of stuff there, and it's all over the place. I have painted miniatures that cost a bit more because they've had all that love and attention put on them. Then I have secondhand figures that are like super dirt cheap, you know, but they need some TLC. They're fixer-uppers. Then I've got some new in-box stuff, and whole I've got painted armies that are painted really well. And so anyway, all right, well, that's my ramble. I hope you have enjoyed yourselves. 22 minutes. Bye.